Hey guys, I recently got the FlexiSpot 35-inch sit-stand desk in for review, and I've also have been a long-time VariDesk user. This is the Pro Plus model, and they're very similar products, so I wanted to give you guys a side-by-side comparison and tell you what I like and dislike about each model. So to start off with, I've been using the VariDesk for ages and ages and ages. I'll link in the description down below to my VariDesk only review. I'll also link to my FlexiSpot only review, so you can, if you want to see more in-depth stuff about each desk, you can. But let's start off with their similarities. They are both obviously sit-stand desks, meaning that you can go from the sitting position for typing and move the desks into the standing position. Now, the way the desks do this is different. The mechanics behind it is different. The FlexiSpot is more of a straight up and down mechanic. So let me go ahead and show you that. So I'm going to grab the handles on both sides of this and just gently glide it up. And you'll notice that it just goes straight up. Now this is really nice for confined spaces. If you really want to save on space, the FlexiSpot is nice because it just goes straight up. Now let's do the same thing with the VariDesk. Now this time you'll notice that instead of going straight up, I'm moving backwards as I'm lifting this out. So this comes out quite a bit. I would say that's a good 1.5 feet, maybe even 2 feet out that you move back away from your primary desk. Now there are some benefits to that too. Let's say you want to get away from your main desk. That could be nice. It just kind of depends on how much space you have. But if you're in a small cubicle and space is really important to you, the FlexiSpot may be better. The other big noticeable difference between the two of these is how large the keyboard tray is. The VariDesk has a cutout space here that makes the keyboard tray larger area, whereas the FlexiSpot, even though it has about the same size keyboard tray altogether, it doesn't have that cutout, even though it keeps going back. Now for me, I use a fairly large Microsoft keyboard with this big padded area, and I'm still able to use plenty of space on the FlexiSpot, no problem. But what I have found is for my workflow, one of the things I will do is when I have this in the seated position, I often will sit with my laptop, or not my laptop, my keyboard and mouse in my actual lap, and then I'll use the area on the VariDesk, this keyboard area, actually as a writing spot. Do I have a pin? Of course not. Now, using this as a writing spot on the VariDesk is really nice when you have your keyboard in your lap. There's plenty of area for a full-size notepad, whereas with this, there's really not. Now, for most people, that's not going to be an issue. Most of the time, you're just going to be using this as a typing area. And if you just need this as a typing area, then the FlexiSpot is going to be perfect for you. But if you're planning on using this as a writing area on the actual keyboard tray, then you may want to consider the VariDesk. Now, here's another minus on the VariDesk. The VariDesk has a pretty small area for your mouse, at least the model that I have. I know VariDesk has come out with newer models that has made the mouse area wider, but on the VariDesk, it's not that large, and it is a bit larger on the FlexiSpot, which is nice. Just, you know, that extra 1.5 inches, 2 inches makes a big difference. But either way, yeah, it's enough room for your mouse. I just like the extra room that you have on the FlexiSpot. Both of these really solid products. They're both comparable in the price range. Let's do a maximum height comparison. Let me make sure I have these both at the... I think the FlexiSpot, yeah, the FlexiSpot, at least with the model I have, is, say, 2 inches taller on the maximum height than the VariDesk. Now, when you're taking in the maximum height consideration, what you also have to think about is what is the starting height of your actual desk that you're going to be putting your sit-stand desk on. Both of these can support 2 monitors, which is typically how I like to have my monitors set up. Typically I'll have one in the vertical position, one in the horizontal position, but you can put both in the horizontal position if you want. For reference, I believe these are 2 20-inch monitors, or sorry, 2 22-inch monitors. The FlexiSpot also has an area where you can put your iPad if you wanted. Now, I personally don't really have any use for that because I don't use an iPad in my daily workflow. And that's really what this all comes down to, is if you're trying to decide between the VariDesk and the FlexiSpot, you have to take in consideration your workflow, because both of these are reasonably priced. They're really close to each other in price range. They're both really solidly built. But if you are working in a small area and space is really important to you, the FlexiSpot will probably be better because it's not coming out towards you when you're standing. But if you want more room for your keyboard area, then the VariDesk may be better. Now, there is one other factor that I haven't mentioned yet, and that is the keyboard tray on the FlexiSpot is removable. And really easily. You could probably remove the keyboard tray on here too using like a screwdriver, but the FlexiSpot makes it just so darn easy. They actually have these little I don't know what the technical term for these is, but they've got these little nubbins, screws that you can just unscrew with your hand literally, and there's 4 of these that hold it up. And so if you wanted to remove this, you could do that really easily. And then you could just use this main area. So if you're not going to be using the keyboard tray, again, the FlexiSpot may be the better choice for you because it has the detachable keyboard tray. Although I think VariDesk also makes ones that don't have a keyboard tray at all. But I like having the option of being able to have a keyboard tray or not, and having it being easily removable. So again, both of these are awesome products. I've used the VariDesk for years now. I love it. I've been using the FlexiSpot for a while now too, and it's amazing. It's solid, it's strong. So either way, you're going to be set. You're going to be great. If you've tried either of these desks, leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear what your experience has been, and I'll see you guys in the next video.